She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Thanks so much for joining us today. How's your work-life balance? Like, what are you talking about? People today are reporting that they're working many more hours than they feel maybe that they should be, and that they're feeling like they're having to prioritize work over their families. But is that really what has to happen? Or is that what society has told us needs to happen in order for us to have success? That is, of course, if you don't really know what your personal definition of success is. It's so easy to be pulled and lured and even seduced into having work as a higher priority over the family if we do not have a vision for our family life, if we don't have a vision for our finances, if we don't have a vision for our health, if we don't have a vision for our jobs and our careers and our businesses. Then what largely happens is that we get sucked into somebody else's definition of success in those areas. We get sucked into somebody else's vision for our lives instead of establishing the vision for us. You see, you were knitted together in your mother's womb with a purpose in mind, with a destiny that calls out to you each and every day. Do you not hear what's calling out to you? Today, we're going to talk about balancing your life, your personal life, your family life, your health life with work, and where should the priorities be? I hope today, after we are all done with this discussion, that you come out with some clarity. And with that clarity comes faith, comes the belief that you can do it. That clarity also helps you to find where happiness really lies. And it doesn't always lie with work. Now, you might be greatly stimulated and work might be incredibly rewarding and work might be really, really fun and you might get tons of recognition and you feel good about yourself at work. And maybe you don't at home, which some people end up using work as an excuse to stay away from the home. And why? Largely because we lack skills at home. We've spent more time investing into skills at work and just thinking that somehow we're supposed to know what to do at home. But I found that is furthest thing from the truth. I mean, of course, if you grew up with the wonderful, lily white lace on the dinner table every night and everyone meeting there, and of course you got the white picket fence. That's not the house I grew up in, and largely I don't know if it's the house that you grew up in either, where mom and dad never had a crossword and everybody was always happy and all the siblings always get along and everybody got along at school too. I mean, just everyone got along wherever it was that they were. I don't even know if that's here on planet Earth, to be honest with you. I mean, I'd like to find where it's at, but I don't know that it's actually here. You were trained at home on how to deal with family, how to deal with money, how to deal with work. You were trained at home how to prioritize. When you were being raised, you were trained how to prioritize those very important areas of your life. And therefore, as an adult, you just kind of go in this cycle. Maybe it's the same cycle that your parents did, and you kind of resented your parents for the cycle that they did. You didn't like the way they did it, and yet here you find yourself as a parent, you're married, and you're doing the same exact thing. Well, it's Money Monday on the Dani Johnson Show, and we're going to be talking about how you can succeed in your business life, your work life, and yet this is Tuesday, and not have to sacrifice your family and your fun. So today we're talking about tips to become more effective at work. We're talking about tips to help you stay in balance at work, to keep work in the right priority so that you can perform well. And yesterday was Money Monday, where we helped you learn more about money and helped you be able to make some decisions about your finances so that you could succeed. But on this Work Tip Tuesday, we want to see you also increase your income without having to make your work life your God. It doesn't have to be. So if you're like many Americans, in the U.S., almost 86% of the men and 67% of the women say they're working more than 40 hours per week. That's according to finance.com. 90% of mothers and 95% of fathers report feeling pressure to prioritize work over family. That's according to americaprogress.org. terrible. When I read those facts, I was like, oh, this is awful. This is terrible. I don't think any of us should feel this way. And by the way, I have felt this way before. As a business owner, in my early days, I was that young entrepreneur who was told by another very successful entrepreneur that the way to succeed was to sacrifice the family and to work, 18 hours a day, 5-6 days a week. And I'd make millions of dollars, and whatever problems it was that I created, then I could just write a check for. I found that to be total bogus. I had a heart attack at 25. I had, a heart attack at 24, a nervous breakdown at 25, tried to commit suicide at 25 because of all the pressure that I was having at work that I was putting on myself. I was the owner of the business. So therefore I put that pressure on me, and I put that pressure on everyone else that was around me. So the fact is, as an entrepreneur, I should have been able to make my own decisions, and I should have made wiser decisions to not sacrifice my family and sacrifice my personal life, all for chasing money. I learned the hard way after that nervous breakdown that I needed to manage my time a little better, and I needed to establish some priorities, get those suckers straight. And as I did that, believe it or not, tripled my income in that next year, taking my hours from 100 hours a week down to 20 hours a week. So I know it's possible to keep the work life where it belongs, and that is not your highest human priority. It is a priority, but it is not your highest priority. So people say they're struggling to balance work and their home life without the fear of retaliation from work. Is that a real thing, or is it a perceived thing? And if it is a real thing, then it's time to have a discussion with the people that you're working with, no question. So we've asked our audience if they've been experiencing this pressure. We wanted to hear from them what they've done as far as solutions, or if they're actually feeling it and they need solutions. We want to have this discussion today so that we can all really get some clarity about, wow, is work in the right place? Because when it's not, we begin to resent work. We begin to hate work. We begin to hate Mondays and can't wait till Fridays. When work isn't in its proper prioritized place, and we're not giving it our all when we're there, but instead we're distracted with other personal life issues, then we feel guilty when we're at home. We feel guilty when we're at work. When we're at home, we're trying to work on work. And when we're at work, we're trying to work on things from home. It is a mess. It's convoluted. And this thing is not going to help you to succeed. So hopefully today, clarity is going to come based on the discussion that we're all going to have together. So we've got Josh from Ohio. Josh, welcome to the show.
Hi, Danny. Thanks for having me.
Hi. So what about you? Where do you fall in this? Do you find it hard to balance work and family life, or have you found a good solution for that?
Well, I think I have found a good solution, and it's certainly getting better every year. I was one of those folks who all I did was work all the time. Didn't see my kids in the morning, didn't see my kids at night. But I kind of found a system that worked for me, where I'm structuring my career more around my life instead of the other way around.
Yep.
And then I just continue to kind of move towards what I would say a more flexible model in my business in order to maximize that time. So I'm spending it with the people I love, doing the things that I love when I want to do them.
Yeah.
I think that's going to give me the balance I'm looking for.
I totally agree. Now, let me ask you a question. When you say that your priority is keeping your family life, right, and your personal life the higher priority, and fitting work into that versus trying to fit your family into your work. So tell me what that looks like, okay? Like give somebody that's listening right now how that switch actually happens.
Sure. Well, for me, it started with kind of, and you mentioned this earlier, but having a vision. So figuring out what's most important to me, what are my priorities. And for me, that's God, that's my marriage, that's my children, that's my health, and then finally my practice.
Yeah.
And so I essentially wrote out what I think each day should look like. When do I want to work out? When do I want to spend my time reading my Bible? When do I want to spend time with my family? And when I put those into my daily calendar, I figured out, all right, that leaves me a few different holes of work where I can fit in the things that I need to get done.
Yeah.
And it's worked out really well for me.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, here's what's so interesting. So before, did you have those things figured out? Did you set an appointment time for the time you're going to read your Bible, the time that you're going to work out, the time you're going to spend with your family? Or was that just all assumed that somehow you're going to have to fit that into your crazy day that is controlled by work?
That's exactly right. I would be running off to the office or staying late, and then always promising myself, well, I'll fit my reading in at this time, or I'll get my workout in over here, or I'll see the kids on the weekend. And I mean, you probably know better than anybody else that doesn't happen.
It doesn't.
You never actually find that time. So I had to force myself to shift my thinking and actually schedule those things in that were most important to me. and then let work fill in the balance.
Totally agree with you. Now, you said your practice. You're either a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer.
I'm not that smart. I'm a lawyer.
Whatever.
I'm a lawyer.
Not that smart. I think.
Doctors are
whatever.
Another level.
Oh gosh, it's a lot of years of school and a lot of money to get those degrees, nonetheless. But a lot of attorneys have no life. They have no life at all.
I was one of them. Again, just grinding out every day on the weekends, in the evenings, and I figured out it's got to stop. I'm going to spend my whole life here and never see my children grow up or actually do anything I enjoy outside.
Was it scary when you made the switch?
Oh, absolutely. I always think there's a little bit of fear and trepidation there where you're thinking, okay, am I going to lose business? Are my bosses going to come in and stand on my desk and ask where I'm at? And you hear it and you read about it.
Yeah. The
opposite happens. You become more efficient. You become more effective. You become better at what you do.
Yeah.
And you actually make more money in less amount of actual work time.
You are singing my song.
It's insane. And nobody believes me.
I know.
I've been singing this for 2 or 3 years. And when I say it, people look at me like I've got a third eye or I'm insane, and they just walk away and shake their heads. In my mind, I'm going, look, I've done it. It worked.
Dude, you must be my brother. I'm serious, Josh, because it's the same thing for me. I've been teaching for 21 years time secrets, right? And I found this secret to time was that, when I scheduled my family time first, and then again, and it's so weird. It's like, you got to work. Yeah, but so what? It doesn't mean it rules your life. So when I said, no, my time that I schedule first in my calendar is my time first with my God and my time with my family, the time that I'm going to work out and keep my body healthy so that I can be here for a long time and not be a burden on my family. I couldn't believe, Josh, I had this same exact thing happen to me. I tripled my income working 20 hours a week versus working 100 hours a week. And I saved my marriage, and I became a mother. I felt good about myself. I got confidence. I was happy. I wasn't being driven 24/7 for really, in all reality, because you said it, money, right? Like, ooh, am I going to lose this contract? Ooh, am I going to get in trouble? Ooh, no, that means, again, money is the higher priority and you're a slave to it if that's what we are fearing, if that's what we're worried about what's going to happen versus doing what's right. Josh, thank you so much. Josh proves that Danny Johnson is not crazy.
You're not. You're not.
I think
people need to get on track and follow you because you're saying the right thing.
Thank you, Josh. You're so very sweet. Time Secrets changed my life. It completely changed. It saved my life. It saved the marriage. It tripled the income. I mean, give me a break. Who doesn't want to work less and get more done and be more happy? And have more sex.
It's living the dream.
It's totally living the dream. Absolutely. Thanks so much, Josh. This is Danny Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
This is The Danny Johnson Show. More resources, more training, more results. The DannyJohnson.com Insider Membership is your ultimate success shortcut. Get exclusive access to reports, videos, audios, ebooks, cheat sheets, and other training for your personal and professional life. This is truly DannyJohnson.com's best kept secret. Become an Insider member today and get on the fast track to success.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what poverty-stricken families are dealing with in Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic needs of food, clean water, and safe housing. But a miracle is in the making, and you can be a part of transforming Nicaragua. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Nicaragua. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
Did you know you can take The Danny Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Danny with the DannyJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you.
Hi, I'm Danny Johnson. The most common question I get usually are from people who are trying to juggle their life. They've got kids who are involved in all kinds of activities. They've got business or their job, finances, trying to get out of debt, plus all their church activities and all the volunteer activities. And they're pulling their hair out going, how do I juggle this all? Man, I once lived just like that until I learned Time Secrets. Time Secrets showed me how to be able to cut my hours from 100 hours a week that I was working down to 20 hours a week and tripled my income as a direct result with what I learned. Time Secrets also showed me how to get my priorities in order, which healed up my marriage. And I became a mother that I was proud of versus becoming the mother I didn't want to be. And so if you feel like your world is running around in all kinds of different circles, you can fix that. Call 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880 for Time Secrets. The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
And now, back to the Danny Johnson Show.
Okay, you might think we're totally crazy, but you can work less, be more efficient, get more done, and even increase your income. You just heard that from Josh. You hear me shout from the mountaintops that is totally possible all the time. So Work Tip Tuesday, that's where we're at here on the Danny Johnson Show. And by the way, when you learn the secrets of time, then you can direct your life at the things that you really enjoy. People spend their entire lives wishing they would have or could have or should have done something else than what they actually did. But what if you actually could do those things? What if you actually could live the life, live the dream, as what you just heard Josh say? What if you actually could do that? I'm saying you can, but it is risky, no question. And when I found this Secrets to Time, you know what else I began to look at? Like, wait a second, I'm so tired of saying I want to go off to a foreign land and help the extreme poor. I'm so sick and tired of saying I want to go and help the orphan. I want to go love on the orphan and then not doing it. I got so sick and tired of saying, oh gosh, I want to be able to be a part of building out some wells. Oh my gosh, these people are homeless, in extreme, impoverished places of the world. I want to go help them. And then saying, oh gosh, but I'm so busy. I have so much going on and the money is tight. But when you learn the secrets of time, those things, when you now go, hold on a second, I've only got so many days left on this planet. How do I want to live them out? And what you will find is there's all the time in the world to be able to do it. It's just about prioritizing your time. The other thing is I believe that when you live your life according to the right priorities, meaning your God first, then your family, keeping your health in there as a priority as well, then work. And then even work in the workplace. What are you doing with your time at work? Think about this, friend. What are you doing with your time at work? What I found is that when I was working 100 hours a week, I was thinking about my family. I was mad about the fight that I was having with Hans. I was mad about the fact that I wasn't with my kids. And I felt such guilt and so much shame that it made me very inefficient and ineffective when I was at work. But when I just cut my hours way back to what I needed at that time, and again, that was after a heart attack and a nervous breakdown back to back, year to year, that's when it was like, there's some other things that needed to be adjusted. And I didn't care if I went broke. I didn't care if I went flat broke. I didn't care if I was a laughingstock of the universe. I didn't care if everyone knew that I flopped and I failed miserably. I didn't care what happened. I just remember going, this life sucks and I don't want to live it this way anymore. So when you're at work, what priorities are you setting? What time blocks are you setting aside to get things done? I notice in my own office, where we have certain teams that are incredibly efficient, and there are other teams that are not so efficient. And the ones that have one particular task that they got to get done between a certain block of time, those guys are powerfully efficient. Those guys are powerfully producing. Those guys are powerfully getting things done. And why? Because again, blocks of time, focused, no interruptions, no Facebooking, no emailing, just bam, I got to get this task done. That creates efficiency, and efficiency creates higher value in the marketplace. So that's something to look at. So it's not just prioritizing your time at home, but also prioritizing in some of those dreams that you have. Like, okay, so I finally stopped dreaming about taking care of the poor, and we've been doing it. I've been doing it for 18 years now. What about you? Are you tired of saying, I wish I could do this and that? Stop wishing, start today. How? Join me on this adventure. We're rescuing 1,000 slaves this year out of the sex trade. We are rescuing 1,000 children, kids, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 16-year-olds out of the sex trade who have been completely sent off in on the streets to have sex with grown men, which is absolutely disgusting in every way, shape, and form. And they need you to come and rescue them. Yes, they need you. How do we do it? Go to kingsransom.org. Again, that's kingsransom.org. Go there right now. You'll see Rescue 1,000. Kids from the sex trade. Rescue 1,000. You'll see it right on the homepage. It's big and it's obvious. Click on that where it says Give Now. Do what you can. $1, $10, $50, $500, $5,000. If you can, that rescues one kid out of the sex trade, puts them in a safe place, food, clothing, shelter, and training and healing, care for their hearts and their souls to get through the healing process so they can come out, completely out, emotionally, mentally, physically, and financially, that they could be restored back to who they are supposed to be, who they were born to be, instead of being told that they were useless and worthless and the only thing that they were good for was for sex 10 to 15 to 20 times a day. You can help right now. Rescue 1,000. Again, that is Rescue 1,000. Help us do it. Start today and set a goal on a monthly basis. How much you want to be able to give towards this project of helping to rescue these beautiful children out of this horrible evil in which they've been given to. So set that goal. Have that be set apart. Then you're moving towards doing something good back into society and helping kids in this country as well as in countries abroad. This is Danny Johnson. We'll continue with more Work Tip Tuesday right after this.
Be sure to tell a friend about the Danny Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your freedom, your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
Did you know you can see Danny Johnson live and in person? Go to DannyJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DannyJohnson.com/FSTS.
My name is Andris and I'm from Latvia. Prior to plugging into DannyJohnson.com, I was a struggling English teacher back home. I had a language school that I started when I was 21 and had grown it to be pretty okay in my city. But at the same time, I had acquired a debt of $60,000. In a matter of 8 to 9 months, I got rid of my debt. And by 2011, we had our first $1 million year. This has been amazing. We grew our school from about 100 students to 2,000 students. And I can only highly recommend for you to come to the next event and be part of this community and learn the tools that will help you to succeed.
Prior to plugging into DannyJohnson.com, my family and I were hemorrhaging under the pressures of debt. Since attending First Steps to Success in January of 2014, my family and I have paid off over $147,000 in 19 months. We're completely consumer debt free. We have restored relationships, and our business is growing at a rate of 15% at every event. Your next step is to sign up for the next First Steps to Success and start creating your own story.
My name is Jeff Conyers, and prior to First Steps to Success, I was a struggling business owner. I had discovered that my business account went negative $5,000 $50,000, and I realized that I did not have a business plan and I needed to do something. Fast forward to 1 year after, I have now created, just by implementing the tools at First Steps to Success, over $50,000, created another business, improved my personal and business relationships. Man, it's like the story is forever changing, and it just gets better and better. I don't know about you or what you're going through, but I would highly recommend getting to First Steps to Success.
Prior to plugging into First Steps to Success, we were drowning under a mountain of debt. We were heading to divorce court. We had failing businesses and toxic relationships. Since plugging into First Steps to Success, our marriage has been restored. We have paid off over $56,000 in 11 months. We've helped our community pay off over $300,000 in 14 months. My business has grown in over 600% in 4 months. And for the first time, I could say I'm just loving life. I have great relationships. So if you are fine where you are, then this event is not for you. But if you're ready to reach your goal and to change your life, then I highly recommend that you get registered for the next event.
Hi, my name is Jill Kearns. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. Prior to coming to First Steps to Success, my husband and I were struggling financially and were hurting in our relationship a lot. We needed more time together, and we just were struggling with that because of the finances. And so since plugging in, we've actually paid off over $280,000 in debt. We're completely debt-free, and more than anything else, the look on my husband's face of relief and excitement about where our future lies, and the traveling and the fun, enjoyable times that we'll get to spend together as a family is totally worth it. So if you want to have better relationships with your significant other, your children, if you have a desire to be completely debt-free and released from that bondage for whatever reason, whatever the burdens are, your next step is to get to First Steps to Success right now.
So prior to getting started to DannyJohnson.com, I was a college dropout. I was working a bottom of the barrel type job. I started plugging into her training. I've skyrocketed through the ranks of corporate America. I've tripled my income in the last 5 years. That's all fine and dandy, but it wasn't, there's a part of me that had a part missing. So I ended up using Danny's prospecting skills, and I ended up meeting the love of my life.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. This is The Danny Johnson Show.
Danny, if I don't stay on call at all times on the weekends and at nights, I'm going to be passed over for a promotion. Well, it looks to me like you have your priorities completely whacked, and you have allowed society to tell you how to be successful at work. And I'm here to tell you that is a lie. That's a lie. There are plenty of people that establish boundaries, which means that they value their time. And when they establish those boundaries, they work their hearts out within the hours that they say that they are available, and they make sure to chart great growth so that they can get that promotion. It's not about being available all the time that makes you more valuable. No way. It's actually the time that you are available that you are exceedingly abundantly better than those that are around you in the areas that actually matter. You see, some people assume they know what the boss wants or what the business needs instead of asking questions and finding out specifically what the needs are and touching base back and forth with that manager or with that boss or with that owner saying, hey, tell me what you think that I'm doing right. Tell me what things you would like to see more of. Tell me the places where I have opportunities to improve and to excel. Show me the very places that you would like for me to grow so that I can help the overall business grow. That makes you more valuable, not being available 24/7. That's what everybody else does. But it also shows that when you say you're available 24/7, especially when I run into real estate agents, when real estate agents say, here's my card, call me anytime, I'm available 24/7, simply shows me that you make a lot of mistakes and you don't value your marriage, you don't value your health, you have no vision for your life, you do not value your children, nor do you have a vision for your children. When you show yourself to be available 24/7, it simply says, work is your God. That's what it says. It also shows that you got one stressed out life. In fact, you don't even have a life. Get a life, friend. That has more value than someone that's available 24/7. So we're going to the phones because we've asked our audience about them. Like, how do you feel? Do you feel that pressure from work? Have you made some mistakes with making yourself available 24/7? What was the result? What did you change? We're looking for solutions and clarity today to say, hey, maybe I should be attempting my work life a little different than the way I'm doing it now. Okay. So we're going over to Kimberly Cavett from Colorado. Kimberly, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Kimberly, did you mute yourself? I've opened your line. Kimberly, are you there? I can't hear Kimberly. That's terrible because I really want to hear what she has to say. Okay, we're going over to Kathleen from Washington State. Kathleen, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
Hi. So what about you? Have you been caught in that trap, and what have you found that works, or are you in that trap right now looking for help?
So I would think that almost my entire career has been spent putting work above anything because, you don't want to not have enough to take care of your family.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that since Steps to Success, which I went to the first one in San Diego.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. So what I heard there, what hit like so deep inside me, was your first tier your first tier is your family.
Yes.
Where are you putting your energy? Where are you putting your time? And I'm like, well, it's not there. It's there in order to support them, but that's not really true.
Yeah.
And so that was a big revelation.
Tell me why that was a big revelation, Kathleen.
Because I think, how to say this, to me, the whole reason for working the way that I work, which is hundreds of hours, I would think that it's primarily fear-based, right? Which is arrogance. In First Steps to Success, I don't know how many times you said, that's just straight up arrogance. That's straight up arrogance. And I said, There were so many mirrors shining back at me that day. It was incredible. And that's what it is. It's a lack of faith is arrogance. And that's what I didn't have. And, I went to the back and I bought DJU and I signed up for everything that I could.
Wow.
And I don't know how many times I've listened to Spirit-Driven Success since then, because it's the lack of faith in my life that I feel has produced my inability to be comfortable that I'm not going to fall. The other shoe's not going to drop.
Yeah.
If you don't work through Christmas, if you don't do that, it's going to be okay. Does that make sense?
Yes, totally. No, I remember. What was so interesting is that the time that you're walking through this and the time you're having this revelation is the exact same time and season of my life 21 years ago. It was December that I had the nervous breakdown. And it was January this has to stop. No more. No more.
I wish it was 21 years ago for me.
It's okay. You've got the next 21 years of your life to set the record straight. And so here's the thing that I would recommend. And by the way, congratulations and welcome aboard, a part of such a team of people who are doing their best to make things right? We've all made these crazy mistakes. We all have been in the boat that you're in right now. And each one of us are on a different part of that journey, walking ourselves out of that hell. It's hell. So let me ask you a question just for someone that's listening who still thinks we're, smoking weed or something or snorting crack. So when you have put work ahead of your family, you had yourself convinced that it was for your family is why you were working so hard.
Right. Yeah.
But in all reality, what does your family really want from you?
Right. There was one season where I didn't get to one soccer game for my daughter. My husband went to every soccer game. Just last year, every clarinet recital that my other daughter had, I didn't make one.
Wow. How does that feel, Kathleen?
It's awful. It's awful. It's. I think every time, and sometimes they're just casual decisions. Yes. Oh, I need to make this. I got to turn this report in. I work in IT, and there's a lot of hours that go with that, and I'm just so used to doing it and compromising everything in order to do it, compromising my health, my husband, my marriage, my children. That's why I started to listen to you in the first place, actually. So I'm going, oh my God, I have to get out of debt so that I don't have to work because I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even that wasn't quite right,
Yeah.
That it's the way that you're working, not whether or not you continue to be an employee or an entrepreneur or whatever else it is.
Yeah.
It's not the company that you work for. It's where you present yourself in that.
Yeah. So even the debt, so many people end up working more hours because of debt, but they don't realize, well, hold on a second, why am I in debt to begin with? Why is that there, right? So again, it's a misappropriation of priorities. It's the wrong priorities of spending, right? And not valuing what is more valuable than going into debt. And that's peace, right? Peace is...
The ridiculous irony of it is that a lot of our consumer debt is because of my need for to make something easy, because I don't have time, because I'm working. Now that is...
There you go. That's a double-edged sword, isn't it? So you went into debt because you're working so hard that you need some things to make things easier for you. Isn't that crazy? Because you're working so hard. So if we cut our hours... Yes, it's a crap. It is. You're totally right. And so here's what I recommend. And yes, Spirit-Driven Success, man, is so meaty. Oh my gosh, they're so...
The best.
It's so powerful.
I'm sure they're all... I can't even get to the time
secrets
management, which I know I need,
yes,
because I just keep going back to it, because I really have led a secular life for so long, and this just like opened my
opened your whole world up. Now let me tell you something.
It opened my whole heart.
It did.
And then opened my whole world, and then every time I have to twist into another piece of it, like the book about your tongue.
Yes. Life and Death and the Power of Your Tongue. Yes.
Yes. And so you just have to pivot into that, and then you're like, oh my God.
Yes. Okay, so Kathleen, let me just say this to you. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. But here's one thing I want you to do. I don't know if you've already done this since coming out of your very first steps to success. But if you haven't, I want you to go to those 3 very important people in your life, and I want you to tell them how important they are, and that you're sorry, that you're deeply sorry, and you didn't realize what you were doing, and it wasn't your heart, but that you made some choices that you're not happy with, and that you don't ever want any of them to repeat, and that you're going to make a commitment to reduce those hours and to schedule time for them first before we schedule time for work. Make those conversations happen today. And then I want you to turn on Time Secrets, because it's a spiritual training also. So it's going to feed that spiritual need that you have, that dryness that you were experiencing. It's going to show you time from a spiritual perspective and how to multiply your time. It really is going to have a very similar impact that Spirit-Driven Success is having on you. And it might be something that you watch with the whole family, because it's a DVD. There's CDs that you can listen to on your way to work, because it's all about the family. It's all about prioritizing them from a spiritual perspective and from a tactical perspective, a practical perspective, so that you'll just see that, it'll make so much sense to you, and you're going to find your focus intensifying at work and the guilt and the shame leaving you, and then your time with your girls and your husband are going to become so rich. And there's going to be a season where it's almost like riding a bike for the first time. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to fall. You're going to feel that. But I promise you, then all of a sudden in a moment, you're going to nail it. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Stay right here for more of The Dani Johnson Show.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
Hey everybody, my name is Digby and I'm from New South Wales, Australia, and I'm here live at First Steps to Success. I've been to 6 events now, and my journey started with an encore in Brisbane, and after doing 2 encores in Australia, I just really had to come to a live event, so here I am today. And since attending an encore and getting involved, my income has doubled and my family life is just blossoming. So you have to get there. You just have to experience it.
My name is Mario Johns. I'm from Scranton, Pennsylvania. And I just want to share with you on April 14, 2013, that was the first day I heard the name Dani Johnson. And I was so inspired by her story, and I just had to find out, you know, how did she go from homeless to millionaire? And it was just so inspiring to me. So I went on DaniJohnson.com, and I started getting the daily emails, the daily fixes. And then after a while, I just stopped reading them for some reason. And August of 2013, it was 4 days before my first event. After work, I went on YouTube, and I typed in Dani Johnson's name, came to my mind, so I typed it in on YouTube, and I sat at my kitchen table for about an hour and just listened to testimonial after testimonial. And I was just so inspired. I'm like, I have to get to this first steps to success. And I had no money. I didn't know how I was gonna get there. The funny thing was, a week prior to this day, I got a credit card in the mail that I never asked for. It was a $1,200 credit limit. I was gonna cut it up, but I figured I'd save it for like the emergency. I got my event ticket, my flight, and my hotel room. I maxed that sucker out, and I came down to Dallas, Texas. And the first 3 hours of the first day, I was just like in tears the whole time. I was just so blown away. It was something that I was just so hungry for. And prior to plugging in, I was a depressed, hopeless, suicidal drug addict. I hated myself, I hated life, I hated other people. I felt like a slave to debt, and I actually accepted debt as part of my life. I had toxic relationships, and I was, and then since plugging in, I've been drug-free for 15 and a half months now. I paid off over $13,000 worth of debt in a little over 13 months. I've completely restored my relationships with my family, my friends. I have amazing friends today from around the world. I love my life, and this is just an honor to be up on this stage. But if I just want to say, if you're new here, one thing that I wish I did is one of my favorite products is War on Debt, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't been following that as like I should be. My first event, if I got War on Debt and followed that with diligence, today I'd be debt-free. So I just want to encourage you, if you're new here and you have debt, I highly recommend getting that, because that's, by the end of this year, I want to be debt-free, and that's my goal. So please help me welcome back to the stage America's favorite millionaire, Dani Johnson.
And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
Dani, I'm a business owner. I work 24/7. Friend, I used to have the same attitude. And that attitude came from society telling me what it takes to become successful. And then I began to really look at what they called success. And I began to look at the life and went, no thanks. Come on, this is keeping up with the Joneses, who own businesses too. And they're all broke. They have crap marriages. They have crappy kids. I mean, their life is out of control. Do I want to duplicate that? No, I don't want to duplicate. And I was duplicating that. When it came down to it, I was asking myself, who is this all for? What is this really all about? Who am I actually trying to please here? And is it actually worth it? I will never forget the day where I said, no mas. It's over. It's done. I don't care if I have to get a job at Walmart or Kmart. I'd much rather do that for 8 hours a day than be this stressed out business owner. Well, never had to go to Walmart or Kmart. I actually maintained to stay in business, even though I cut my hours way back. Stop letting your business or your work life own you. Establish your priorities at work and at home. But first start establishing the priorities at home. You've got 2 teams, my friend, a minimum of 2 teams. You've got your first string team, which is your home team, your spouse and your kids. Your second string team, and I said second string, which is at the office. Yeah, they're at the office, or they are your distributors if you have a business that you're in direct sales. They are not higher priority over your spouse and your children, and therefore every decision you make should always be made to, is this my highest priority or is this not my highest priority? We have to stop being reactive and being seduced and lured into longer hours for long periods of time. Listen, once in a while, it's okay. But when it becomes a pattern and a habit, week after week after week after week, month after month, year after year, this is off track. And you are not going to last long at that pace. Got to keep your priorities straight if you're going to win it, friend. If you're going to play to win in 2018, you got to make sure you're doing that part right. Otherwise, you're not going to make it. We've got Ashley Baird from Oklahoma. Ashley, welcome to the Danny Johnson Show.
Hi, good morning.
You have the greatest voice. How old are you?
Oh, I just turned 27 in December.
You sound like you're 12. That's awesome. That's why I had to ask. Like, how old are you? We have a 12-year-old calling in to talk about work? Like, wait. Yeah. Okay, so what about you? Have you found it a challenge, or what solutions have you found for keeping home and work balanced out?
Oh, solutions. You know, I think every day I just have to, prayer is my biggest tool, just because if I'm relying on my own strength, I can't do it. Instead of the Lord leading me and seeking Him. But it's just in this point of my life, just working very hard with, my business, but also keeping my priorities straight, which is a lot of what you talk about, making sure that my home and my family are taken care of, and my children, because I have 3 little ones that keep me on my toes. And it's very easy for me to focus on one area and neglect others. And so having to learn the balance and fluidity of working to keep a schedule, but if things happen just because it's the way life is, it's okay. And so just working through those things to be able to accomplish what I need to.
Yeah. And especially if you own a business that you work from home.
I do.
And you have 3 little ones at home?
I do.
Okay.
Yes, 3 little ones.
I did that for a season as well, for a lot of years, actually. And what's important is what you said, is to prioritize your home, like keeping that home in order, keeping the kids in order, having that time to play with them, read to them, right? And those things are not being jeopardized by, there's a client that can only meet with me at this time.
Yes, exactly.
Right? So, and this is what we say, that client, I'm sorry, I'm not available. You don't say, and this is important, you don't say, I'm sorry, I'm with my kids at that time. They don't understand that. Most people don't have any priorities that are worth anything. So when you don't ever want to say, I'm sorry, I'm homeschooling at that time, or I'm sorry, I'm with my kids at that time, or I'm sorry, I have a date with my husband at that time. It's none of that. It's none of that prospect's business what you are doing at that time. Sorry, I'm booked. Yeah. Sorry, I'm booked.
Because what works well is just saying I have a 2:15 opening, if that would work for you.
Amen.
My little ones will be resting then.
No, but I wouldn't even say my little ones would be resting then. It's none of their business. None.
I have an appointment available at 2:15. Would you like to take that?
Exactly. And so, and I get this question all the time from people who work from home. And the question is, but Danny, what if I can't meet with them for days? Oh, well. If the person is a true prospect that is supposed to be a part of your organization, they will be. There's nothing you can do that will stop them from being a part of it. But if they're not supposed to be a part of it, and the fact that you can't meet with them until Friday at 4, oh well. You cannot allow the fear of loss to control your life. Yeah. If you allow fear of loss to control your life is going to suck. That's just the way it is. It's going to suck. So you have to be in control with your time and scheduling that thing out and sticking to those appointments. And sometimes things have to be rescheduled. Oh, well. But that fear of loss that comes in goes, crap. What if? Stop with the what ifs. in the wrong direction. Use the what ifs in the right direction. When you say this is the time I'm available, it shows you value your time, which means that that is a more prestigious way of living. You have what they want versus you being willing to bend at every whim and wish of some perfect stranger. But when you show these are my time slots available, then it shows that there's a structure in place and that you value your time, you value whatever those other appointments are. So, which also adds value to the business in which you are building. Okay, we've got Michelle from Ohio. Ohio's on fire today. Actually, it's probably freezing today. I know Ohio. It's cold up there. Okay, so Michelle, what about you concerning work-life balance?
Yeah, I was kind of in corporate America for about 25 years and a single mom most of that time. So it was real important to, in the beginning, it was rough. I had a hard time juggling it because I was in management. So I had to work a lot of extra hours. But then the most thing I can say with my 3 kids at home was just the structure and trying to stay on a schedule, was the biggest thing.
Yep. I want you to look back and I want you to determine whether or not you had to or that you thought you had to work extra long hours because you were in management.
I thought I had to. Until I learned how to delegate. Better.
Exactly, right? Which meant you had to raise up some leadership that you were leading and let them take the load and trust the load into their hands, knowing they will make some mistakes. But at the end of the day, mistakes are fixable. Most of them.
Correct.
As long as no one dies, we're going to be okay. Right?
Exactly.
So I'm so glad that I caught you on that because I don't want any of us to promote to someone, well, if you're in management and you're new and you're a woman and you're a single mom, you're going to have to work extra hours. BS. That's what we think we have to do, and therefore we act on our thoughts, and that is not always healthy or right or good. When that is not an option, we find another way to get it done. And actually, the other way to get it done is always better. It's always better for everybody, actually. That creates opportunities for the others that, Michelle, you were working with. That's what it did. Gave them a chance to shine versus you carrying the whole load yourself. It's called teamwork. Yes. Love it. Michelle, thank you so much for saying that. And congratulations. 25 years in the corporate world as a single mom. That's amazing. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Don't go away. The next segment might just change your life. It's the Dani Johnson Show.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success. Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what poverty-stricken families are dealing with in Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic needs of food, clean water, and safe housing. But a miracle is in the making, and you can be a part of transforming Nicaragua. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Nicaragua. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
More resources, more training, more results. The DannyJohnson.com Insider membership is your ultimate success shortcut. Get exclusive access to reports, videos, audios, ebooks, cheat sheets, and other training for your personal and professional life. This is truly DannyJohnson.com's best kept secret. Become an Insider member today and get on the fast track to success.
I just heard this amazing story. One of our clients had written us telling us that they had used job domination and unlimited success and has absolutely exploded their career. He said, Danny, I don't know where I'd be today without job domination and unlimited success. Listen, do you want more recognition from your coworkers? Do you want to be recommended to people all over the world? Do you want to be somebody that is highly sought after? Listen, if you're in a dead-end place where this gentleman found himself, but then learned new strategies and changed everything in his work life, and obviously this has resulted in higher bonuses and pay raises, you're next. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Job Domination right now. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Job domination. That's what you need. It's time for you to dominate the job market and break through the rut that you're in.
This is the Danny Johnson Show.
So bottom line is that there is a way to have balance between home and work and still succeed. We've got Tammy joining us from Austin, Texas. Tammy, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So you're a busy mom.
Yes.
So what's going on? What do you have to say about balancing life and home and work?
Well, I think that for me, balancing, I run 4 multi-million-dollar companies, and I have 2 teenage daughters, 12 months apart, and a terminally ill parent and a husband, and it just seems very difficult to balance it well.
Yep.
But the only way you can do it is with God.
That's so true.
The Holy Spirit has to lead every second.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the only place where there's peace, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's the only place where there's peace, because when we think we're trying to hold the whole world together and it's all of our responsibility and no one else can do it, that's when we are a slave to time versus understanding the secrets to time. And I understand. I was in that same exact boat. And I began to hate every area of my life. And I was, again, walking with God, going to church, reading my Bible every day, but I did not understand the secrets of time. And he certainly didn't put us on planet Earth to have us be frazzled, constantly fried, freaking out, getting no sleep, with bad health, trying to keep everything up. The fact is that when we lead our life according to his priorities, and you mentioned the Holy Spirit. So what does he prioritize? He prioritizes his relationships first, and the family relationships are the first and foremost, most important relationships to him. So it's first with him, but if we're really walking with him, then we're keeping our husband the next priority. See, that's where I was confused. I thought, he was my first priority, but Hans was certainly my last. But if he was really my priority, then my marriage would have been my second priority. And Hans, and honoring him and spending time with him and caring for him and being encouraging to him and having ample time to have a relationship with him. And that when I was with him, I was not thinking about business or talking business or making decisions or distracted with other things. And then next is the children. That would be the next highest priority in that same kind of order. I believe after searching the scriptures from Genesis to Revelation that is exactly how he wants us to live it out. I started to live it out that way 21 years ago, which meant that my business hours had to be cut way back, and I had to trust and walk by faith. I had to trust and walk by faith, and I was amazed of how everything grew without me. Not to mention, a few years back, I took 3 years off. I took 3 years off, which is crazy. And did our business die? No, it actually did better. So how amazing. Why? Because when you honor God and you honor his priorities, and you follow what he says about that, then he multiplies our time. So the secret to time, if you keep your priorities straight, he multiplies your time. This is Danny Johnson. I hope you enjoyed today's program. If you did, please share it with somebody else. It's going to save someone's marriage today and or business or health, life. God bless you. Thanks so much for being here with us. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
If this episode was an encouragement to you, go to DannyJohnson.com and share it with your friends now. You never know who else needs to hear it. This has been The Danny Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.